Good afternoon, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. This is Rich again, back for your second video blog of the day for Monday, November 23rd, 2015, around 5:28 in the afternoon, Billerica, Massachusetts. Very chilly day out today, in the upper 30s, but with the windshield, it felt more like 20 and stuff. We're heading into winter, my friends, and it's going to be cold. But if it's going to be snowing, should be soon, but another warm-ups could happen on Wednesday or Thursday or Friday. Some news to report. Baseball Hall of Famer Rod Carew is in need of a heart transplant. He suffered a massive heart attack a few months ago, and he needs a heart transplant. So prayers to Rod Carew. And that's about it on the news. My second video blog subject of the day is about my review of Survivor Series 1993 WWE pay-per-view, which happened at the Boston Garden in Boston, Massachusetts. This was the only pay-per-view that's ever happened at the legendary Boston Garden. And this Survivor Series was back to the traditional elimination matches, except they had one match, which was a tag team match, which I'll talk about a little later on. And before the pay-per-view, they had a dark match that was just seen in the Boston crowd. It was Billy Gunn of the Smoking Guns defeating the Brooklyn Brawler. And then they had the pay-per-view matches, which was called by Vince McMahon, Bobby the Brain Heenan, and for one match it was good old JR Jim Ross and Gorilla Monsoon, who was also calling the event for Radio WWF or WWE. The first match was an 8-man tag team elimination match. It was the bad guy, Razor Ramon, who was the WWE Intercontinental Champion at the time, the 1, 2, 3 Kid, Marty Jannetty, and Macho Man Randy Savage. Ooh yeah, dig it, substituting for Mr. Perfect, who suffered an injury, but he left the WWE for a while because his back was, acting up again. He was on a Lloyd's of London insurance policy. They faced off against IRS Erwin R. Shyster. You better pay your taxes, you tax cheats. Diesel, Big Daddy Cool, Rick D'Amato Martel, and Adam Bomb with Harvey Whippleman in their corner. And this was an elimination match. And back to a traditional 4-on-4 Survivor Series elimination matches. And Randy Savage eliminated Big Daddy Cool Diesel first by dropping him with the elbow drop and pinning Big Daddy Cool 1, 2, 3. But Macho Man was eliminated because Crush was coming in and interfering. Crush and Randy Savage had an awesome feud in the WWE around late 1993, early 1994. It was pretty amazing. And then Razor Ramon eliminated IRS, and then but eventually IRS IRS eliminated Razor Ramon by attacking him outside, knocking him with the briefcase. And it was down to Marty Jannetty and the 1, 2, 3 Kid against Rick D'Amato Martel and Adam Bomb. Adam Bomb and Rick Martel accidentally knocked into each other and they argued. And the Kid eliminated Martel 1, 2, 3. And eventually Marty Jannetty pinned Adam Bomb 1, 2, 3. So this whole Survivors was Marty Jannetty and the 1, 2, 3 Kid. The next match was the Family Feud match. It was the Hart brothers, Bret the Hitman Hart, the Rocket Owen Hart, Keith Hart, and Bruce Hart with their father Stu Hart in their corner against Shawn Michaels. It was originally going to be Jerry the King Lawler, but Jerry the King Lawler was removed from WWE television for this time period because he was charged with rape with young girls and stuff. Eventually, Jerry Lawler got acquitted for that trial, but we're not talking about it right there. We don't want to go there. And Shawn Michaels had his knights, the Blue Knight, the Red Knight, and the White Knight, or whatever you call them. And they were mass wrestlers. And playing the knights were Jeff Gaylord, Greg the Hammer Valentine, and Barry Horowitz. Originally, one of the knights was going to be Terry Funk, but he did not show up because he had a sick horse and stuff like that. He was supposed to be on the WWE booking committee and stuff. They were promising him a booking committee, but he didn't show. They couldn't come to an agreement. You egg-sucking dog, you Dusty Rhodes. Anyway, this was a showcase elimination match, and Keith Hart and Bruce Hart looked very rusty in the ring because they weren't wrestling that much in the 90s and stuff. They had full-time jobs. Bruce was a teacher, Keith was a fireman, and they weren't that very good. It was Bret and Owen carrying the match. Owen eliminated 2 of the Knights, and Bret eliminated one of them with the sharpshooter, and like Owen Hart was going to eliminate Shawn Michaels, but he accidentally knocked into Bret. Owen got mad. Shawn Michaels beats him. Rolls up, 1, 2, 3. Owen Hart's eliminated. He throws a fit, and then Bret Hart and Keith Hart and Bruce Hart were beating up on Shawn Michaels. Shawn Michaels runs away. Referee counts to 10. And then it's Bruce, Keith, and Bret Hart in winning, celebrating. And then Owen Hart comes and he argues with Bret. And they almost come to blows. Special guest commentating for this match was Ray Combs, who hosted Family Feud back then. And he also was the guest ring announcer. He has some funny stuff to say about Shawn Michaels. And he said this one that would crack me up. That Shawn Michaels says, name a state that has the word new in it. And he said, Nebraska. He was joking about that. Very, very funny. But the way to get cheap heat on this was a time the WWE was going downhill and stuff, so they needed some publicity, and they had to bring Ray Combs. But Ray Combs was a WWE fan for many years until his untimely death in 1996. The next match was a tag team match. It was an elimination tag team match. It was a tag team match for the Smoky Mountain World Tag Team Championships. It was the Rock and Roll Express, Ricky Morton and Robert Gibson facing off against the Heavenly Bodies, the Gigolo, Jimmy Del Rey, and the Doctor of Desire, Tom Pritchard, with James E. Cornette in their corner. And this was the first time ever that a non-WWE title was on a line on a WWE pay-per-view. Smoky Mountain and WWE had a working relationship in the early 1990s, but it was not acknowledged on TV. Also, WWE had a working relationship with the USWA, but that was not acknowledged on WWE TV. Back then, WWE did not acknowledge other wrestling promotions, which maybe is a kind of a good idea in my humble opinion, because they probably don't want to give a plug to the competition. And this tag team match was very good and stuff. They say this was probably the best match on the pay-per-view. Probably was. Rock and Roll Express was a little out of their prime, but they still could give a good match. And the Heavenly Bodies were a great tag team. They never got a major run in the WWE. They were used as enhancement talent, and back and forth. Jim Cornette interfered, but the Rock and Roll Express knocked him out, and then eventually Jimmy Del Rey hits Robert Gibson with the tennis racket behind the referee's back. Dr. Desire Tom Pritchard pins Gibson for the 1, 2, 3. And the Heavenly Bodies are the new Smoky Mountain Tag Team Champions of the World. Great match. Probably the best match on the pay-per-view. The next match was Bam Bam Bigelow, Bastion Booger, and the Head Shrinkers, Fatu and Samaru, with Alpha, the Wild Samoan, and Luna Vachon facing off against not one doink, not 2 doinks, not 3 doinks, but 4 doinks. And these weren't doinks that were wrestlers. They were other doinks. They were Luke and Bush Doink. And they were Mabel Doink and Mo Doink. They were with Oscar Doink. Unbelievable and funny and stuff. This was a this was a just comedy match and stuff. So funny and stuff. All of the Doinks survived in this match. We won't go into how they won it. This went afterwards. Bam Bam Bigelow walks out, and then he sees the real Doink on the Titantron, and he was laughing and stuff like that. This was just a calming match. It probably was one of the worst Survivor Series matches of all time, but it was so funny. And then the last match, the main event. It was the All-Americans, captained by Lex Luger. He was with Rick and Scott, the Steiner brothers, and The Undertaker with Paul Bearer, which was originally going to be Native American Tatanka, but Tatanka was injured. And they faced off against the Foreign Fanatics, who were Yokozuna, the WWE champion, captain, and he was with Crush, Jacques, one half of the WWE World Tag Team Champions, the Quebecers, and Ludwig Vorga. And two of the Foreign Fanatics were actually U.S. citizens. Yokozuna was actually from San Francisco, Rodney Onoi, and Crush is from Hawaii. Made no sense. They were with Mr. Fuji, Johnny Polo, who everybody knows as Raven, and James E. Cornette. And this was an okay tag team match, and it was to start off the Yokozuna Undertaker feud. Yokozuna gave some bonsai drops to the Undertaker, but the Undertaker no-sold them, and Yokozuna and Undertaker both got counted out. It ended up Lex Luger and Ludwig Vorga. Luger won by pinning him 1, 2, 3. Was an okay tag team elimination match and stuff. And what did I think about this Survivor Series? It was a D, in my opinion. It was awful and stuff. Probably the only saving grace was the Heavenly Bodies versus Rock and Roll Express feud. The other matches were pitiful, in my opinion and stuff. But the Hot Family against Shawn Michaels and the Knights were just to start the Bret Owen feud, and All-Americans versus Foreign Fanatics were just to start the Yokozuna and Undertaker feud. And it was awful. The Boston Garden deserved a better WWE pay-per-view than this. And that's about it on that. Be back with the third and final video blog of the night, which will be about actress Angie Dickinson. And like I always say, keep calm, everybody. And I'm a Julie Broughton guy. Julie Broughton's News 6, Orlando, Florida. One of these days, I hope, one of these days, I would love to get Julie Broughton to do a video blog with me. And also, Molly Rosenblatt of Fox 35 Rocks. Elizabeth Hart, So Stunning. And in the words of Dickie Ackroyd, Unit Director of the Boys and Girls Club of Greater Billerica, the more, the merrier. See you later.